Okay.
Yeah.
Can't
I'm gonna
reach
be
that.
watching something while you're doing that.
Go ahead, do your thing, cause we bringing the audience in.
Okay.
Okay, what's up, family? How you guys doing? See who up in here. Let's get some of y'all up in here and let's get it going. Let's get it started. What's going on, people? How you doing? Gonna wait a few of you out to start pouring on up in here. Oh, what's up, Ace? What's up, the Ace? You always the first one up in here, man. What's up? Had to gotta get you on something good. What's up, Kyle? You up in here too? None bigness. What up? Cat Eyes Philly. What up? Okay, this is what I've been waiting on for all day. What's up? Okay, Vengeance up in this motherfucker. What's up, LeVar Ball in here? We know this is not the real LeVar Ball, but you're here. Hey, what's up, Darnell? Much love from Baltimore as always, baby. What's up? Supreme present in this. Well, Supreme is up in here. He's present. Freedom All TV. What up? How you guys doing? Okay. Face Mob. What's up? Calling in the build. Callie in the building. That's right. Callie always riding with me. I fucks with y'all. What's up, Corey? How you feeling? Much love to you too, Youngstown, Ohio. So what's up, people? We got Reggie right on the phone. Hey, he got a surprise a little bit later on in this interview for you guys. You know what I'm saying? So, as usual, we always keep it 100 and go in. How you feeling, Reg? You good?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm getting over this cold. I know my voice has been a little raspy the last couple of interviews, but it's getting a little better for me today, I think.
Okay.
So I
So,
guess I can check off the HIV off my list because I'm knocking out this cold.
yeah, we don't want that on nobody. What's up, Born Divine God Allah in this
Yeah.
building? Hey, you know what, Rex? Born Divine God Allah, that's my homie.
Okay. Okay.
Him, myself, and Jersey D. We putting something together, and we all gonna have to, all four of us gonna have to sit
Okay.
down and work, cause this is the raw shit of all three, all of us together is raw. So let's get it.
Okay.
Let's get
Yeah. You know
into
your
it.
boy Jersey D. I got a lot of love for.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Jersey, that's my hitter right there. That's my
Yeah.
number one hitter. What's up, Reese D in this motherfucker? What's up, Reese? So let's get to it now, Reg. Now, as I was watching, okay, it was a lot of good shit
Okay. Let
reported.
me say something first. Let
Go,
me say something first.
go ahead.
Real. All right. That chick that I was talking bad about yesterday, that they put up, talking about she was a ruthless um, studio manager.
Mhm.
All right, I know who she is now. It took me a minute, but
Okay.
that's Queenie. That's she was the receptionist at Death Row. She's not at Death Row, at the studio at Can-Am.
Right.
She the one that say, "Hello, Death Row. I mean Can-Am Studios. May I help you?"
Okay.
Now everybody like to put a little bigger titles on themselves than what they were. So that's what had me all messed up. But that's
Okay.
Queenie. She eventually had a baby by Eric B.
Okay.
And she mainly did a lot of dancing and stuff like that when we did shows and stuff like that. She used to look a lot better than what she looking now, but I got to remember everybody got 20 years on her,
Okay.
20 years of age on her. But that's Queenie.
Okay.
She had a baby by Eric B. Matter of fact, she's the girl that's on the song, Me and My Girlfriend is doing all the talking.
Oh,
That's like, bam, bam, that's talking with Pop
oh, that's
on
her.
Machiavelli. Yeah, so that's her. Yeah,
Okay.
that's Queenie. Yeah.
Okay.
So she ain't studio manager, but I did say I didn't know who she was, and I guess they must have messed up when they put out there that she was Ruthless Records studio
Yeah.
manager, but she ain't. Now she was just a dancer slash receptionist.
Okay.
That's Queenie though.
Okay, so yeah, so she was on Me and My Girlfriend. Okay, so was she present in the
Yeah, she
studio
she,
with
she did
Pac,
that.
or she did that after Pac was gone?
No, no. Matter of fact, what happened? He needed a female on on his on the album, or because Pac was working,
Mm-hmm.
and she was at the front desk, and he brought her back there and to say, "Hey, get off that phone and come here." And he brought her in and told her what to do, and she put it down. She did a good job.
Now that's what's up.
She did a good job.
Pac giving motherfuckers
Yeah.
jobs. Did she get a platinum album behind that
Yep.
too? Did she get an album platinum plaque?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure Eric B. Whatever was needed, he pushed up for it because I don't know if they still together. But
Mm-hmm.
matter of fact, her sister is the girl that kind of that's out there that's managing Corrupt right now. The one that's been with Corrupt for about 15, 20 years. I can't think of her sister's name now, but that's her younger sister, and she's still with Corrupt to this day.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Not good. Let's get off into it. Speaking of Corrupt, okay. Now, Corrupt, out of all the dog, I spoke with Daz, and got, Daz is cool. And Daz, he never really said too much bad about Suge. He said called him the devil. But, in the past he said Suge was also basically like in the beginning like a father figure. And somewhere down the line
Yeah.
everything went kinda sour there. But what made Corrupt, stay so loyal, and you never hear Corrupt speak anything negative about Suge or Death Row. He always showed nothing but love and speak positive, and always say if it wasn't for Death Row, there would be no Corrupt. There would be no Dog Pound.
All right. Corrupt did something stupid, real stupid. And Suge saved that boy. He'd still be in jail right now. And he probably been somebody's bitch for what he did.
Okay.
And Suge saved him. That's when he sent him back home to Philly. But Corrupt always had respect and love for Suge for what he did for him. And that's why I believe Corrupt's like that. Corrupt left. Corrupt was sent home. That's why you notice he wasn't on too many of Tupac's albums,
Right.
or on his songs. Corrupt wasn't around during that time because he got sent home, and Suge said you need to go home and be with your mom for a while, so he sent him back to Philly, and that's what's up with Corrupt. So now Corrupt did come back around. Matter of fact, I went and got him. He was on the radio. When Suge first came home like sometime in 2001. And we heard him up at Power, was right down the street from us. Power radio station, Power 106. And I ran down there. He had me go down there, and we did that, and they like kidnapped him. Said, nigga, come here. Simon want to see you. But, like Corrupt always been cool. Like, yeah, what up? I want to go see you. Came back around and shit. He was around doing the whole Left Eye and all of that. Matter of fact, Corrupt was still around when I left. So he stayed around until at least 2002, 2003.
Okay.
And, so Corrupt's always been 100. He's a good dude. But that's what's up with Corrupt. But Corrupt got out of his contract by doing something, by filing bankruptcy. He filed bankruptcy, and that's how his contract got discharged, probably in like 97 or 98, sometime during that point of time.
Okay.
And then he went on and he did some work with there was a company that was under Interscope. What was the name? Anyway, he started doing some work with one of the companies and did an album. And that was when that skate roll bounce.
Oh yeah, that was
song
the
had.
Yeah, that was the shit.
Yeah, it was a nice skate song. I always call it like a skating song. But anyway, that's the deal with Corrupt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. Okay. Now, okay, I remember. Okay, I was looking at the thing where Snoop. Okay, he after he got off of Death Row, Snoop was basically saying some foul shit about Suge, and as one of the reporters at MTV said to Snoop, well, Suge said you went from an artist to just being a No Limit soldier, and Snoop said he went from being a record label,
a CEO,
CEO to an inmate, and threw up
Yeah.
the middle finger.
Yeah.
How did that make?
Yeah, that's why Snoop got slapped.
Yeah,
That's why Snoop got slapped.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that
he got slapped behind that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that pissed the mob
But
off.
he would have got more if he would have took off and ran. But he ran like a little bitch.
Okay.
Niggas talk all that bullshit, but shit, the history is there. Everybody know. Pull up with Universal Theater in Universal City. You'll see it. He got arrested that night ran to the police with weed in your pocket. Or run to the police. officer, nigga trying to get me.
Oh,
yeah, okay.
Nah, not Snoopy. He didn't do that, no, did he?
That's public record.
Yeah.
Ask your boy Kenneth McClain is he on. I'm sure he got some evidence of it somewhere.
Oh yeah, hey, Kenneth McClain in
One of
this
those
bitch.
historians.
Hey, Kenneth McClain in this bitch has said
Is
LOL, so he's laughing out loud.
it?
Okay.
Somebody got one of those historians got that universal health thing when he got arrested with the weed in his pocket. That's
Okay.
when he made that comment. The guy sitting next to him is the one that did it. Yeah. But
Okay.
anyway.
Wow. Now that's something I gotta ask you, Reg. Okay, now because I got a lot of good questions. I'm gonna dance around some of them. They might not be in order, but we gonna get this
Let me
shit
do a
going.
disclaimer. Let me do a disclaimer right quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, boy, I had to do something with my son tonight. He trying to go to Japan on some trip
Mhm.
next year, and so I had to go listen to that for about an hour.
Mhm.
So I ain't watched the second half. I ain't watched the last one. I watched the first one, but I haven't watched the second one.
Right. Right.
So I may know things of just what I know,
Mhm.
but y'all might have to kind of walk me through it, and I can tell y'all what I know about it. But I
Okay.
haven't seen what people said on the
Okay.
second episode.
Okay.
All right.
We gonna rock with it, baby. Okay. Now let me ask you this. Okay.
Okay.
Now we going back to the night in Vegas, the fatal night of Tupac. Okay. Now we gonna discredit because I read somewhere that somebody sent me some screenshots of somebody claiming that the BMW was bulletproof, and I have to explain to I have to
No.
explain to idiots that they said that the BMW was bulletproof and bomb-proof, right? If a vehicle is bulletproof, listen, this is real talk. If a vehicle was bulletproof, there wouldn't have been no bullets that would have hit the door and penetrated straight through the way that they did. And someone claimed that only one bullet penetrated through the car, but that was a fucking lie. As you can see the pictures, that bullets penetrated through it. Okay, so we all for that. I just had to throw that out there, just like because
Yeah.
there's some young people, young. Okay, now
Yeah.
out of anybody in that Cadillac, right? Did any of those guys that you
Okay.
know of, did any of them have any military or law enforcement training that you may know of?
No.
Okay,
No. No.
not at
No.
all.
Those are all hood Compton street niggas. Two of them was young. Two of them had a little age on them.
Okay.
Two of them was like our age, which would be in their 50s right now, and
Mhm.
the other two would be in their, I guess, like their 40s,
Mhm.
so early 40s, late 30s now.
Okay.
So that was the age bracket for them. Now, I don't know what it was back then.
Right.
I guess I was 30 then, 28, 30, so they would
Mhm.
probably been about that age.
Okay. Now the
Two
reason,
of them, and then the other was been 19, 20.
right? Because
Yeah.
the reason I asked because the way that the car was hit, and those were some very accurate shots. The way that they hit them doors, like okay, somebody been to the range, or somebody had some hell of a skills with putting holes in some shit. That's
No.
how I look at it.
If,
Okay.
if the car was moving, if
Uh
the
huh.
car was moving, I would agree with that. When a target stands still
Mhm.
and you stand still, it's real easy to to shoot at because normally you're trying to shoot at one direction, and
Mhm.
that's why you usually get that little pattern.
Right.
But no, you ain't got to be the expert to do that. Now, if a car moving or a person is running,
Mhm.
I totally agree with you.
Okay.
But when a car stopped at a stoplight, no,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Good deal. I'm
The
good.
only thing with the expert piece will be if you try not to shoot sure.
Yeah.
If you said, okay, we just gonna shoot the passenger, we ain't gonna shoot the driver. Then you'll want an expert there.
Right.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Because now my understanding is okay. The reason why Pac was shot in the chest, I've heard it from a couple guys that said that Pac looked like Pac was trying to jump in the back seat when them bullets was letting loose. That's why he was shot the way he was shot.
yeah, that's Shook said that. And
Okay.
Shook, I heard that a couple of times. Of course, with him trying to have this sense of humor that he has.
Mhm.
Yeah, that nigga was trying to leave me. He was trying to jump in the back seat, trying to get away from me, leave me. But that's
Okay.
him.
Okay. So
5 or 10 years later, sitting around at a prison table just
mhm.
talking shit.
Right.
But no, he did say that he did jump up or was trying to get in the back seat.
So,
So jump in the back.
so
Yeah. So
Okay, so it's a possibility that Pac wasn't trying to, jump in that back seat. That he possibly could still be here today because he wouldn't have been hit the way he was hit.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what some. Who knows?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm one. You talking to a guy that believes that your date is wrote on the wall. The only way your days get shortened is when you hit your parents.
Oh.
That's just my belief. I
Okay.
believe God got a date for all of us.
Oh yeah.
And yeah,
That's
so
true.
that was his date.
That's
Yeah,
true.
but yeah,
Okay. Now.
but I ain't no
Mhm.
hell of a praise your Lord type deal. Don't put the Reverend Reggie on me.
Oh.
That's just what I
Okay.
believe.
Oh, most definitely. We all
Yeah,
we all believe in God.
yeah.
Or a lot of us do, and a lot of
Well,
us
I do.
don't. But I believe in Him.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Now,
yeah.
let's talk about, okay. While over in the Bahamas recording the Death Row Christmas album, how did Suge find out that he had to turn himself in, had to return to the States to turn himself
Yeah.
in? How did he find that out?
We was called. We got a phone call from David Kidder. Because initially they just brought him in for saying he had a dirty test,
Mhm.
and he had been kind of fighting that, to be honest, for like a month,
Mhm.
where they trying to say he had smoked some weed,
Mhm.
which he knew he hadn't smoked any marijuana because he was hooked on the Cuban cigars real bad.
Mhm.
But the nigga sat around people that smoked weed daily,
Mhm.
every day, and so he was trying to prove that the dirty test came from a second hand smoke.
Mhm.
But uh, so they pulled him in for that initially, is what they said they brought him in for. Really, what they wanted to do is what I was trying to tell you last night, was to talk to him about, hey, we're trying to go after this DA, because that's when this reporter out here named Chuck Phillips was
Mhm.
on our ass. He was writing stories about the Longo situation, how he found out we was renting a house on the DA that was supervising his probation and all of that. And so it was big in the papers out here at that time.
Mhm.
And everybody always say Chuck Phillips worked for us. We hated Chuck Phillips. Chuck Phillips was killing us
Mhm.
back then. But anyway, and so uh, he was brought in really for a probation violation for a dirty test. But they really want to talk to him about uh, rolling on the DA and David Kenner. When he refused that, that's when they hit him with the assault in Vegas and the probation violation for that.
Okay.
So, but we had got a call like a day or two before. The only one flew back was me and him. We flew back that day and left everybody pretty much at the studio.
Okay. Now, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now what was Snoop like after Tupac died and Suge went to prison? What was, Snoop's demeanor and just his whole attitude around death row?
He was still working. We did we had him do Midnight Love. He
Mhm.
did was doing working on an EP. I don't know if it ever came out, but he had to do Midnight Love.
Yeah,
Midnight,
I
what was that?
remember
It was
that.
one of those dudes, Raphael Sadiq.
Mhm.
And so we did a video on that. We did that Santa Claus Go to the Ghetto video
Mhm.
with him and Das and Corrupt and all them for the Christmas album.
Right.
Uh, he didn't come to the Bahamas because pretty much that was, Danny Boy said something like we went to the Bahamas to do that. We was really going there just to touch up stuff, but the album was already pretty much done. We're talking October.
Mhm.
We was releasing stuff. We had that shit finished like in December, probably. I mean, in the summertime before even Pac, before that happened because,
Mhm.
was releasing it in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
And so you don't wait to start finishing it. You don't wait to to do an album in the fourth quarter when you got to release it in the fourth quarter.
That's true.
So, where Danny Boy get that from, I don't know. But we just really went to the Bahamas to start touching up stuff, finishing it up, getting it prepared to turn over to the distributor, whatever wasn't done. But I think pretty much everything was about turned in by then. We were
Okay.
just working on some new stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Suge did go to prison, and they violated him for allegedly kicking Orlando Anderson. Okay, now who reached out to
It,
Orlando Anderson to testify on Suge's behalf?
myself and David Kenner was there,
Okay.
and We really reached out through the attorneys, though, E.D. Fall.
Okay.
Um, but I talked to Orlando at the office.
Okay. And what was
That's all I want to talk about on that subject.
okay? That's all you want to
Yeah.
talk about on that
Go
subject.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go
No,
ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
no,
But you know,
I was just
we
gonna
just had a
ask.
conversation. We talked, and yeah, yeah,
Was
we
it
had a conversation, and
was it awkward?
TPD pretty much said it. I heard him say that we offered him 60 G's to testify, which is true.
Okay.
I think I said that before.
Right.
And, but it was paid out through the settlement where they didn't file a lawsuit or where that lawsuit got dropped,
Mhm.
um, for suing the state.
Right.
Because he was also, they were either about to or just have filed a lawsuit against Tupac for allegedly assaulting him, and he probably couldn't work no, he probably couldn't work or something like that.
Right.
You know how people say when they get a lawsuit, I can't work, I'm messed up, you embarrassed me, you humiliated me.
Right. So,
Yeah.
just sitting there
But he got
talking.
60 G's for
Right.
that.
Just sitting there talking to him is okay. This is the man that possibly took out our biggest artist. Okay, was that
Yeah.
no other mob member was around. No one, just you and him. Because I'm quite sure
Yeah.
you had to keep him safe, and because other people wanted to do damage to him. So how was that on you? That was like kind of big on your shoulders of having to keep this man safe in your office.
Yeah. It wasn't at office, it was at Edie Fall office.
Okay.
But they had people all around in the parking lot. They think I didn't know, but they had their little gunners around.
Okay.
And but I was coming on the tip of trying to save Suge, trying to keep Suge from going to jail.
Okay.
So we wasn't on no stupid shit then. We let the streets deal with the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We were just trying to keep. We were trying to do whatever we thought to keep Suge from to be free.
For sure.
Deal with all the other shit later.
Mm-hmm.
But we was trying to keep him out of jail.
Okay, that's true.
And I wasn't on that tip. I wasn't. That wasn't my job to be trying to retaliate for. For Tupac at that time.
Right.
I'm not that type that's gonna do something like that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm coming at you, you ain't gonna see it coming. Quite frankly.
That's right. That's how it's supposed to be done in moving silence. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
when Biggie came out to California and he went on the radio interview that morning, did you hear Biggie's interview on the radio while he was in Cali?
No.
Okay.
I didn't hear the radio. I didn't hear the interview. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Now, do you think that Puffy was being a little arrogant by coming to California less than a year after Tupac's death?
I think, like I said before, I really believe Snoop and Steve Harvey had them believing that everything was all good.
Mm-hmm.
And when they went and did that little press conference,
Mm-hmm.
squashing the beef,
Mm-hmm.
and Snoop was out of place. You can't stop a beef or a war that you didn't start.
That's true.
And I really believe Puffy and them bought into that.
Okay. Now let me ask you this: behind the scenes, at any given time, like just that you may know of, did Snoop lead Tupac to be like, well, not leading, but had them to thinking, well, yo, I'm riding with you on this East Coast thing, or I'm riding with you on this Biggie thing? That was Pac ever under the impression that Snoop was riding with him before he heard him over the radio?
He got on a video with him, and he was at that video shoot with Snoop. This and Biggie, and he saw all of those extras and stuff sitting around the video shoot.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say, "Oh, I don't want to be a part of this video. Man, I can't do it.
Right.
I can't do that."
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do that.
So yeah. Wow, that's kind of crazy. Cause yeah, he's riding, and I have to say this, okay. Now we all know Suge never hid it that he was affiliated with the Bloods and with the mob. He never hid that, and as he came out, everyone knew that. The media made that to be known, let it be known to everybody that this man was gang affiliated. And by him and Puffy beefing, I honestly think Puff is I'm gonna say it, fuck it, and anybody can be mad. I think Big's death, that's Puff's fault. The way that the whole thing went about, that's Puff's fault because Puff, seeing that Suge's enemies was the Southside Crips, and he goes and hire these guys, bring these guys in, and he set that atmosphere. And Gene Deal on my show even said it that yo Puff, we didn't never need the Southside Crips. We didn't hang out with these guys. And he asked Puff, "What the fuck is you doing, man? We don't need these guys." So I honestly believe that everything.
And I disagree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I disagree with Eugene on that.
Okay.
I really believe that you're supposed to get some niggas from that area. Mm-hmm. Now, to say to bring them and to take them to New York with me, or take them to Sacramento or somewhere like that, okay, mm-hmm. I may agree. But to go and do a summer jam show in California, or in LA, or in that area, now I think you can't just have 10 of your homeboys. And plus, that was a little expensive to fly out 10 of your homeboys or 20 of your homeboys. Mm-hmm. Entourage dudes, because you already got artists and their people. You got to, you already had all those people you had to fly out and put in hotels and feed and all of that stuff. So you can just, hire 10 niggas, 20 niggas from LA to roll and to be with us while we there. Mm-hmm. I believe in that. I believe that's how you do it. I don't believe that, you just hire 10 dudes from New York and come in and just go in their clubs and pulling their women and all of that stuff out of the clubs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You get your ass tore up. So you better have. So when we went to other people's towns, we, usually it was the street team people. We'll go and say, hey, street team dude, give us about 10, 15 of your boys or whatever. Mm-hmm. Or, like New York, we had people like that. But, I'm talking about if we go to Atlanta or somewhere like that where we didn't go to a lot, we will usually pull, street team guy and tell them to get, 10 little gunners and stuff like that, to come and roll around with us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I didn't mean to cut. You good. So I don't know why Eugene would say that. I wonder if he still feel that way now, but no, I don't care if you can bring 15 New York niggas. No disrespect to nobody. Right. I ain't saying that they ain't tough, but 15 dudes from somewhere and think you're going to come to L.A. and just run it, it's not going to happen. Okay. That's not good business. And every cash money, when they come to town, even to this day, they go up and get up under some bunny hunters or something like that. Mm-hmm. Everybody got some cliques that they call when they come to town. Facts. And you better have some when you go to other people's towns.
Facts. That's true. Okay. Yeah. Now, Corrupt,
if I come to Detroit, I don't call Rail. I don't be like, Rail, man, coming to Detroit, what's up? Show me where the strip club's at, where's Poppin' at?
hey, come on. I got street niggas, the old school niggas, and we ain't for that play shit, so you come on, you gonna be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what Mac 10 tried to tell people in that song. When I come to your hood, mm-hmm. you got my back. When you come to Inglewood,
yeah,
I'll front your sack.
Yeah,
that's what they were trying to. That's what they're trying to tell you on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. Now listen. Now Corrupt. He said something, and it's new. It dropped. Well, it was new to me. I don't know if anybody else ever heard it. It was like a bombshell that he said that the night at the Peterson Museum, he and Foxy Brown was there the night that Big got shot, and they were parked somewhere in the area, and he heard the gunshots, a bullet or something flew past the car or something, he said, but it's in there, and he said that Foxy just said, yo, Big just got shot. And he, she wanted to get to the hospital, and he was like, well, I can't do that. If I go, they're going to see death. All they're going to see is Death Row. And, she was panicking and wanted to get there, and so he just broke down and went with her, and he said the first thing that Little C's greeting him with tears in his eyes like, Corrupt, why? Why, Corrupt, why? And, he like, damn, this shit is real. Did you guys know that he was there?
Yeah. Never heard that story.
Okay, well, yeah, he just...
First time I heard it.
Yeah, he said it tonight. Yeah. So
but Corrupt was kind of... you got to remember, he's a Philly dude. Mm-hmm. He's from Philly, so... Mm-hmm. And he was back out that way. That's how he had hooked up with Foxy Brown.
Okay.
He was back out there. Like I said, he was Corrupt was on some disciplinary and
Mhm.
at that time with us. So yeah. So
Okay.
Corrupt, yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, yeah. Uh, yeah. I was gonna call the guest, and we can hit her up right quick, and
Do that.
then we can get back with me if we need to.
Yeah, do
Okay,
that.
hold on.
Okay.
All right, hold on one second.
Okay.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest. Reggie's finna get a guest on the phone with us, and we gonna chop it up with this special guest, and hopefully down the line we can get another full interview with this special guest. Okay, we lost Reg, but they will be calling back. So until then, what are you guys thinking about this interview? What do you guys think? Is it, is it dope? You guys liking the questions I'm asking? You're not liking? I mean, what's up? People, talk to me. This is hey, thank you, Supreme. Thank you, brother. The realist. Oh, you asking a question? The realist. No, it ain't the realist. The realist ain't gonna be the person that's he's calling. This is a female. Oh, here we go. Yo, got you back, Reg. You here?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, let me connect her. Hold on.
Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hold tight. It's coming. They're coming in. So just sit tight, people. Thank you, non-bigness. Appreciate you. Just sit back. You'll see. I ain't gonna ask. I'm not gonna tell you who it is.
Teresa, I got you on the phone with the Big Rail from the 313 Live Show and his family.
Hey,
He's on the live interview.
hey, how you doing, Sharitha?
Yeah. I'm okay. It's catching me in my bedtime, but
Hey, we won't keep.
I'm good. How are you guys?
Hey, we great. We won't keep you long. We just wanna chop it up with you for a minute. I got you live with us on the 313 Live Show, and the family is here, and they watching, and I want to say it's an honor to have you on my show, and thank you very much for even coming on for us. Coming on.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, now
Anything for Reg.
hey, that's beautiful. So now you are Suge Knight's ex-wife, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, yes.
Yes, unfortunately. Now let me ask you a question. I heard.
Why you still want to be married to him? You said
No,
unfortunately
shut up.
hey, you still want to be married
no,
to Suge?
unfortunately, I was married to him.
Okay. All right now. Hey, I heard some, with the Michelle A shit, from what I just seen tonight. It sounds like you want to whoop her motherfucking ass if you ever run across her.
Well, I'll tell you, she don't want to run across me at all. And I don't believe in women and women fighting over a guy. It's not even about Suge. It's about her and her actions.
Right. Yeah, because she was out of order. That was some slut shit she did. Fucking Dre, then fucking Suge. That was foul.
It was way out of line.
So when did you find out?
You be careful. I tell people, you be careful what you say to your friends about your man.
That's true. Now, when did you find out that she was fucking Suge? Yeah, at the time he was your husband, right?
Yes, I believe someone told me during they had a big Christmas party, and I said, no, that's impossible. No, she wouldn't do nothing like that. He wouldn't do nothing like that. And it came across again. And we went to court, and I ran into Dre, and Dre looked at me. He was like, did you know this? I said, no, did you know this? And he was like, no. And it was confirmed then.
When you say Dre, are you saying Dr. Dre?
Dr. Dre.
Wow. How did Dre feel about that Suge and Michelle was fucking? I'm quite sure Dre had a baby by her at this time.
Oh yes. Dre had his own thing going. He had his, which is now his wife, and that's why him and Michelle broke up.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really think he cared, but I think it bothered him because him and Suge were friends.
Right.
People don't realize Dre had became one of Suge's best friends.
Mm-hmm.
So you just don't do that.
Right. Now let me ask you a question, because Dre and Suge was best friends. Do you feel in some way that Tupac played a role and was responsible for the breakup of Suge and Dre's friendship?
Well, Suge's a grown man, so someone else can't be at fault for their breakup of the friendship, but I do believe that Tupac had started calling Dre out on some stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what stirred it all up.
Okay.
And Suge did, let's put it on record, Suge did try to go back and talk to Dre, and I kept telling him, I'm like, Dre's getting ready to leave you, because Dre told me he was leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Suge, I said, I don't know what you did or what you're doing, but Dre is leaving.
Right.
And next thing I know, he said, well, I tried to go out to his house, and I don't know what transpired at the house.
Mm-hmm.
It must didn't go good because it didn't get worked out.
Yeah, Suge went with some guys and allegedly went and took some goddamn masters back from Dre that Dre thought he was going to leave with. Allegedly.
And that could have been the second time that he went to Dre's house, too.
Okay, so he went.
Yeah, we had already, the split had been done by then.
Yeah, because I think he did go to Dre's house to see what was going on and was it true he was leaving. And Suge was angry that Dre really was leaving, but Suge didn't lose nothing for Dre leaving.
Oh, hell no.
Dre gained his freedom. Dre just gained his freedom.
Okay. Now, you managed a lot of the artists on Death Row. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, let me ask you, now with your publishing, you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but I just always put it out there on the record. Do you still receive any money from the publishing of these artists?
Well, let's start with it. Have I ever received $1 from them?
Okay. Let's break it down. Go ahead.
No, I've never received one nickel off of any album sale.
Okay. Wow. They owe you some motherfucking money. You need to be suing. Getting your money.
Well, I gained some money, and let me just say it's a little bit. And when we were on the road, and that's where I made sure they made the extra money.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always something with these guys that, Shreetha, don't take your commission. Don't take your commission. I need to do this. I need to do that. I'm like, okay, go on and keep it. Mm-hmm. And I always give it back to them because that wasn't important to me. I just wanted to see these guys get what was due to them.
Most definitely. So, so Snoop was signed with you under your publishing, right or wrong?
Snoop,
yes.
The Dog Pound, and I don't remember if Rage ever physically signed a contract, but I know she had one delivered to her and Nate.
Okay.
Yeah, and he calling it publishing, change it to management.
Yeah, change it to management.
Yeah, my bad.
I didn't get no
Okay.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. People?
I'm sorry. Thanks, Reg, because I wasn't getting that. You're right.
Well, people?
It was just management. It was a management agreement.
Okay.
We had management agreement.
Family, excuse me, I'm fucking up here. I'm saying publishing, but it was management.
It's okay.
I got the family on here. I'm clearing that up with them. So, no, she was not receiving publishing. It was management.
Okay. No, I wasn't receiving anything.
Well, you wasn't receiving.
Let's
you didn't
go there.
Yeah, you didn't get paid.
I was busting my ass for a bunch of people that I gained nothing from.
Wow. Okay, let's talk. Okay, how was your relationship with Snoop Dogg? How was that relationship?
At first, me and Snoop's relationship was great, and I don't have any beef with Snoop. Snoop, he don't speak to me now, but it's okay. I don't have any problem with that. Snoop is the one that talked me into doing the management thing.
Okay.
Not Suge. It didn't come from Suge. All this came from Snoop. Okay. All those artists came from Snoop. Snoop convinced everybody to sign with me because I was getting his stuff done.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's what's up. So
Snoop was like my little brother.
Mm-hmm. Now, to you, okay, when Pac came to Death Row, What was Pac like? Did you and Pac get along? Did he have his own management in place, or he was gonna get with you as well?
No, man, Pac never talked about any kind of management. However, Suge used to pawn all his artists that he had management agreements with on me to do work for them too.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I did with Pac was he did go on some tours with us,
Mm-hmm.
and Pac was one of the most professional people I've ever encountered.
Okay.
We had one bad incident, and this is the first time I've ever met him, where he kind of like, told me off a little bit because I told him a different time to be downstairs because I was used to telling all the guys an hour different.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get down there on time. He wasn't happy with that. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I didn't know you was this professional. So ever since then,
Mm-hmm.
we were cool. I
Look,
actually decorated his house.
yeah. Listen, we got Kenneth McClain, and Kenneth McClain, he's a fucking genius at this shit. Before I even got the question on, before you even answered, he said Tupac flipped out on her for being an hour late to a meeting. So
Yep, he
yeah.
sure did.
Okay. Good.
He sure did. And I mean, that's when I gained the respect for him because, like I said, I met him once at the studio, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And that after that day, he came to my house for dinner. We were really cool with each other.
Okay.
Like I said, I started decorating his house after he came to my house and saw my house. He wanted me to do his house.
Okay, that's what's up. Now let me ask you this question. Did you see the All Eyes on Me biopic, the Tupac movie?
A little bit.
Honestly, in your honest
I
opinion,
didn't see a full movie. I don't believe in seeing crap like that.
oh, so
It's untruth stories.
okay,
It's just,
it was crap.
and especially by a person that wasn't even friends with Tupac. How you know this story?
Oh, okay. So I'm glad that I got somebody on here that can, that don't mind, don't mind letting it go. So so LT? He had me fooled. He said that him and Tupac was friends. They was fucking the same women. He was busting
That's news
gun.
to me.
Oh, that's new. Okay.
That's
No,
news.
I gave that interview on Bone First, and I told you no. He mainly hung with the dog pound dudes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. He sure did. Well, no, where he
He's
came
really
from
Chicago.
was he came
Chicago.
from B Brazil. He came from that group.
Chicago.
Mark McWilliams brought LT on board.
Okay.
Yeah, which is a group from Chicago.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Wow. Okay. Good. Okay. See that? Wow. Okay. LT was full of shit then. Wow. Bullshit. God damn. So the little part that you saw, you just said, I can't watch this shit no more. I can't do it.
I was disappointed, and I was like, oh. And actually, I didn't go to the movies to see it. I ended up on my Apple TV when it was $4.99.
Right. Okay. And just like, wow, it was a waste of $4.99.
It was a waste of $4.99. It's no different than I thought Straight Outta Compton was really greatly done and all that. But like I tell people, that stuff is fabricated.
Mm-hmm.
It's their version of the untruth.
Right.
And everybody want to make a monster out of Suge, and I just don't agree with that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending Suge. Suge's a monster in his own accord.
Mm-hmm.
But this didn't happen like this.
Right. Okay, because they played Suge kind of scantless in the movie, so I agree. Like I asked Reggie, I ask Reggie this all the time. Well, I say it to Reggie. I'm asking a lot of people say a lot of good shit about Suge. That he's done a lot of great things for him, but the media will not tell these sides of the stories about Suge. I've spoke to Daz before. Daz gave some good stories about Suge, and he gave some bad ones about him. But he just said Suge was like a father figure. Danny Boy have gave some good stories and some bad stories, but the good stories always outweigh the bad, and you never hear these good stories about how Suge helped people out.
Right. And that's the part I don't like. I don't like the fact that you watch Michelle tell her story,
Mm-hmm.
and you're portraying this man that you so-called married as this villain and this monster, but yet you was all up on him.
Right.
How much of a villain was he then? Come on now. People don't read in between the lines. Even on this Chronicle, you would see, she says, oh, he just showed up at the parties. No, he did not just show up at them parties. He was invited to them parties. No different than I was there when I met Eazy-E at a wedding, at L.A. Dre's wedding.
Right.
Which the girl that he married that day became my best friend. So everybody was cool with each other. So I don't know what is this monster? Who is this monster? Suge was not a monster then. Suge kind of developed his monster behavior, but Suge definitely was not a monster then.
Okay. Wow, okay.
Suge wasn't smoking cigars. Suge wasn't smoking cigars then. Suge wasn't even drinking. Suge had one tattoo on, well, actually two.
Okay.
And the two he got was one that said Sugar Bear when he was at UNLV, and well, no, it was El Camino. Maybe he got that one, and then the other one was Smiley, which that's what he called me.
Oh, okay. So so you would honestly say, just you personally, Suge's good does outweigh his bad.
Well, the Suge I know. I can only speak for the Suge I know. I mean, I've listened to Reggie's interviews before, and me and Reggie kind of share some insights because I know the Suge. Well, actually, Reggie knows the Suge, too. They went to school together.
Okay.
But I know Suge personally, so I know a different Suge than the world saw.
Okay, good.
The Suge that I see today, I have to say, I don't like that Suge.
Wow. Okay.
He couldn't even be a friend of mine.
Okay. Okay. Now,
so
I got this one family member. He's in here live, and his name is Machiavelli 1996. Now he done flooded the timeline with this one question. I'm gonna ask it just to put it on record, and if you chose not to answer it, you don't have to answer it. We can move on and keep it going. We're not gonna press it. He said, "Ask you about your relationship with Kevin Gaines."
I don't understand.
what about it? What about it? What does he want to know about it?
What about it, Machiavelli? She asking you right now. You hear it live. She asking you, what do you want to know, nigga? Now, you done flooded me, so now ask.
Did we date? Yes, we dated. So I don't know what you want to know. You're not really asking a question.
Yeah, she got you, man. You ain't asking a question.
Hey, Sharita.
Yes?
How many times did I meet Kevin Gaines?
I don't think you ever met Kevin.
Exactly.
Right.
But
No.
I hired Kevin and his boys, and I had them on lookout and all of that.
Well, let's go. Suge never met Kevin until one day.
Right. Now,
Exactly.
Right.
I think Suge. I don't think. I know for a fact Suge only saw Kevin once.
okay. Now B dash.
And but what people don't understand. Let me just say this so you'll know. Don't get me wrong. Me and Suge were separated. We were separated at a point of time, but the agreement was nobody was supposed to know this.
Right.
And that's what bothered me with Suge. You told me to act like I'm going to see you at home and we are together, but yet you're flaunting all these women when that wasn't the agreement. The agreement was business was business. And what you do personally should have stayed in your closed doors. Everybody on death row or in the street should never have known you was talking to anybody. And when he violated that, that's when I start talking to Kevin. So
okay.
And let's clear up the other Kevin. I'm gonna give the guy all his questions. I'm gonna just answer them all. No, he's never worked for Death Row. Kevin, I hired Kevin personally to do Snoop's family reunion. Him and some of his partners to do security. Reggie didn't know nothing about this. Nobody knew nothing about this. My private life was supposed to be what it was, my private life.
Yes. We got somebody's crew up in here, so they little crew said that Reggie was lying. Reggie knew about Kevin Gaines, according to somebody. We're not gonna say his name, but Reggie and I, we already know who this person is, but we gonna scratch them.
I don't know. Well, let me tell you.
This person.
I've never introduced Reggie. I've never introduced Reggie to Kevin. Nobody knew Kevin existed.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Okay, is it true? Now, I got to ask this one. This was on me. Somebody asked, but I was going to ask this. Okay. Is it true that Suge drugged Kevin ass out to the desert and made him strip butt-ass naked and walk back home?
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Okay, people, y'all hear
Dang, that's a big fabricated story.
Yeah, that was a rumor for a good long minute that they were saying.
That's not what happened. That's not what happened.
Let me
Not
tell
at
you,
all.
if being a cop and an ex-cop, if somebody would have did him, if he would have did him like that, trust me, that crew that he was running with would have got his ass in L.A. once he came back. he trust me. And something would happen to me like that or one of my boys, we would have came and got him. Suge Knight, whoever it is, some other LAPD cops, white boy cops, or whatever. You just don't do niggas like that, especially cops with badges. They always say stuff growing up in high school, but once we got that badge, we thought we was the toughest things around.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little true. But when you got that badge, you ain't gonna let nothing like that happen to you. Okay, who you are.
Not Miss Sharitha. We got Kenneth McLean. This is me and Reggie know him. He's a great guy. He said, "Can you confirm if you were on paperwork as owner of Death Row? Conspiracy theorists claim David Kenner was 50% owner, not you."
Well, first of all, if anybody know any legal thing, I was his wife. We were married before Death Row. So, do I have to sign my name on a dotted line to be owner?
Nah,
No, you don't.
Legally, you don't. No,
I didn't have to sign my name, but Death Row was legally mine.
Okay. Hold on. Now we got it. Now the shit. I'm mad that I even asked that dumbass question about Suge driving. Michael.
I mean, come on. I already told you we were married. We were married way before Death Row existed.
No, not that one. I'm saying I'm mad at myself asking that goddamn question because Kenneth McLean just made it clear that Michael Carlin nutty ass is the person who made up that Desert Story. Why the fuck did I ask that question? If I would have known Michael Carlin is the motherfucker that was behind that shit, I wouldn't even ask that goddamn question.
See, you know what? This is the problem with the Suge story. This is the problem. This is what created Suge, and people don't realize that. It wasn't just the media. It was the streets created this man.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, Suge wasn't a punk, by far. He's never been a punk, ever, ever, ever. But he wasn't this person that everybody thought he was.
Right. So, hey, let me ask you this because I know it's your bedtime, and Reggie, did this as a favor to the family and got you on. Is it possible at a later date and time when you're free that we can possibly get you back on the show and we can chop it up again and just go for what we know? Because we one of the rawest motherfucking podcast show out here, and we don't bite our tongue. We say what the fuck we want to say and do it how we want to do it.
I'm glad to hear this. I'm really glad to hear this. You sound like you're a legitimately real person, and you just don't believe in the hype.
Nah,
you have common sense, and I only like to talk to people with common sense because I'm out of the closet now. Nobody knew who I was for years, and I kept it that way for a reason. And the only person that got me out of the closet was Michelle. Oh. And the only reason why I came out of the closet because she started lying.
I said this to Reggie, and I'm going to say it. Don't be mad at me for saying this, but I'm just going to say it again. I always said either Michelle A. had some boss head or some good motherfucking pussy or something to make Suge do some of the shit that she made him do, and this shit was nuts. But I'm going to say this again on
You know what? I'm going to say this and clear that up for you, too. I don't know what she had, but I'm going to tell you about Suge.
Go ahead.
Suge was fascinated with being a celebrity. And that was probably one of the only celebrities that will put up with his bull crap. Was that one. And I believe he talked to her, too, because he was getting back with Dre. Get back at Dre.
Yeah. Now let me say this.
And yes, did he probably fall in love with the girl? Maybe. I don't know. But people don't realize Suge listens to every damn woman he dates.
Now listen.
If you was the last person sleeping with Suge,
we call the last person in his ear.
Yep, last person in his ear. That's how he is. He always wants to be the last person. You're right. The last person. But see, these people don't know all this about him, and none of these women know really anything about him. Right. I knew Suge when Suge was in high school. Reggie knew Suge when Suge was in high school. So I know Suge way more than everybody else.
Right.
Yeah, I went to elementary school with the fool.
Oh, you went to elementary school too?
Yeah, we went to Foster and Hustler together.
Wow.
Hold on. Hey,
Wow.
B,
So
People don't know. Sarita forgets this.
yeah.
I was dating her.
everything.
I forget her. I was dating her cousin. And
I don't forget that.
Oh yeah, and then she came to the house party where she met you because they were following my butt around.
Oh, okay.
With my
Oh,
sister
God.
Tommy. And they were stalking me, and that's how she met you.
I don't know about that one. I don't know about
she was
that one.
you know,
Now,
she
my
was
cousin was
stalker.
dating him, but brother, she was stalking him.
Yeah,
I
she
can't
was a
attest to
stalker.
that one. All I know, I got tricked in talking to Suge Knight. That's all I know.
Now, I'm going to say this shit. Suge did some player-ass shit. Now, he did some shit that I did to somebody back in the day, but I'm going to tell you this player shit that he did. By him making Michelle A. think that they was married just to get her dumb ass to come to the jail to get conjugal visits. Now, that was player shit right there. And I'm gonna
First of all, he didn't make her think that. She's a grown woman. She was a grown woman. She knew exactly who she married. She married Norris Anderson, Suge's brother-in-law.
Well,
You stood up in front of a judge and married this man. That show you. Don't think he should have got a player move on this. She wanted to really be married to him. Because Dre wasn't gonna marry her ass. So the only dummy would marry her is because the nigga was in jail. If the nigga wasn't in jail, he wouldn't even marry you.
So wait a minute, hold on.
Then she tried to divorce him. She tried to divorce him, and I said, "Oh, now she want to divorce you?" He says, "I ain't signing no divorce papers. If I sign a divorce paper, that means I married her, and I know I didn't marry her. I was in jail."
Wait a minute. Pump your brakes. You mean to tell me Michelle A. stood up and married Suge's brother-in-law?
You don't want me on no interview.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Tell it.
Yes,
he,
I
he
do.
was in Kern County. He was in jail in Kern County, and the marriage certificate was done in L.A. County.
No, it was done in Norwalk. Get it right.
Norwalk, yes, that's L.A. County.
Get it right. Get it right.
That's
Okay.
L.A. County.
That's
Norwalk,
fine.
LA,
But
yeah.
I even have the marriage certificate.
Yeah.
Are you serious? For real?
Oh, and let's get one better.
Yeah, he was in
They
jail.
got married in '97. Me and Suge wasn't divorced until '99.
Yeah.
Oh, that shit. Oh, so that shit wouldn't have been flew anyway. What the? Like I say, that was some player shit just to get her to come to the jail to give up the pussy. That was all that was.
Exactly. Oh, I remember because even Reggie, I got some beef for Reggie too.
Uh-oh.
But anyway, when I was filling out papers to come see Suge in jail, Reggie, don't say you married. Don't say you was married to him. Don't say don't say none of that. Use your maiden name. So see, they knew what their asses was doing.
Oh.
I didn't even know. And the thing about it is, I didn't even know. I found out from a family member that she was going around Death Row calling herself Miss Knight, and I couldn't understand it.
Whoa.
Oh, and don't get me wrong, that song that Snoop made that says "The Night," that's not me.
Okay.
That's Michelle.
Okay.
People get that wrong too. It is not about me. It is about Michelle.
Okay, good deal. Wow, god damn it. You got the house on fire in this motherfucker tonight. Everybody like, this is classic. For real.
Oh, shoot, I could tell you about all of them women. I could tell you about every last one of them women. I know they all get mad because I only speak about Michelle.
Ooh.
But the only reason why I speak about Michelle is because she was my only friend.
Right.
She was my friend. Them other people, I didn't know them.
Wow.
These people entered into my life. I didn't enter into theirs. They have to call me and say, well, are you bringing your daughter to the family party? Because we can't bring our kid if Arian's coming. You damn right you can't come if I'm coming.
Wow. Okay, wait a minute. Somebody told me to ask you.
Suge's father didn't play that. Suge's father did not play that.
Oh, okay. So your Suge dad was old school. He didn't play that. Okay.
He was old school, and I loved him for that. He was very old school.
Wow.
I don't have no grandkids, but that one, that's it. My son was married, and until he ain't married no more, these ain't my grandkids.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay, you got to save some of this good shit for our interview, goddammit, because, because Michelle A., after she did that motherfucking documentary over there on the Lifetime, that motherfucker started acting Hollywood again, and I was like, man, she must have forgot that she was just on welfare not too long ago, collecting food stamps and shit. The fuck wrong with her?
Exactly. Well, I wasn't on welfare. I ain't never collect food stamps, so. Yeah. She wanted to be Suge's wife. Asked her since she wanted to be Suge's wife, why go take her money? Oh, you want to be Suge's wife? Okay, here.
Well, you were the wife, of course. You're not gonna be on welfare. You were taken care of. Shit. What the fuck?
Oh, don't get it wrong. They try to make me broke, huh, Reggie?
Well,
Hey, I looked out for her.
well,
I don't want to got your ass divorced, so.
And you know what people
nice.
don't, and I'm going to tell you this, and you can talk to me another day.
Okay.
I walked away from death row.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what people don't understand. It's not being greedy or it wasn't any of that. I walked away, and not because I was scared of anybody, because Reggie will tell you he didn't know why Suge was scared of me. But, I walked away from my piece of sanity. And this man still was chasing me down no matter what I did, no matter where I went. I moved from LA to Vegas. He came knocking on my door at 2 o'clock in the morning. So
that will be you got that you had that nigga's nose wide the fuck open. That's what that was. You had him open.
Oh, I know that.
Hey, when he found out she was dating.
Hello? We got lost. God damn, y'all. Did y'all hear this gangster shit that's going on? This shit was too motherfucking gangster tonight, y'all. What do y'all think? Wow. Sharitha, Reggie Wright Jr. on the show tonight. God damn. AB Dash, I didn't see your question. I saw the last thing you asked, something about you put something about what is it going to take to get your questions asked. I didn't read it, brother. You know, I don't pay this screen no attention because I'm over here with the phone. Then I'm over here. You see me looking away. I got the motherfucking iPad with the questions and shit on it. So I apologize, brother, if I'm not getting to y'all questions and shit. You know what I'm saying? I apologize. Don't shoot me now. Don't shoot me. I got shit going on here. Okay. Yeah. So people. Wow. I don't know what's happening. Reggie's gonna call back. Keep it coming. Look, I'm gonna keep it coming. You know what I'm saying? Hey, thank you, Tashima Walker Classic. I'm loving this shit. Hey, cause this is the 313 Live show. You know what I'm saying? That other motherfucker ain't even got one motherfucking interview under his motherfucking belt, and I got damn near 30. I ain't even gonna say his name. I'm done. I said I was done talking about that bastard. Oh, Reggie's back. Hold on. Yo, what up, Regs? You here?
Yeah. I don't know when we lost you, but we lost you. But she said just call back. I'll set y'all up whenever y'all want to do an interview.
Okay.
And she's good.
Hey, y'all, she's coming back, y'all. We're going to get her on the show, but, hey, we finna finish wrapping up over here. Man, that was, she lit this motherfucker up tonight, Regs. That was, good looking. Good.
I know they were tired of hearing my voice and hearing my story, so I said, let me call somebody and see what we can get on that was on the show a lot.
Nah.
So we'll call old Mob James up later on this week and talk to him and shit. That's all they seem like they deal with, Mob James and her. And the crackhead looking on Queenie.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, Jersey Deep. Thank you, brother. I see that $2 donation you put up there. Y'all know I don't ask for no money. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, if you donated, I do appreciate it. Please believe it. You know what I mean? So,
I heard that.
Most definitely. Like I said, I don't ask for it. But, goddamn it.
Hey, so I want a spoiler alert. I need a spoiler alert because I can't wait because I got an hour to watch. But what did Keefy D say? What did he say?
What Keefy D basically said was at the he changed up a little bit. He was saying that he didn't want to he didn't want to say who did it. He just said that the shooter was in the back seat, and just to keep it the cold of the streets and not being a rat.
Oh,
but they already broke it down and played the tape of him openly admitting that it was Orlando who did it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
now, but he did,
But he didn't deny it. He didn't deny it.
Oh no, he didn't
deny it.
No, he didn't deny it at all.
Okay.
No, he didn't deny anything,
Yeah.
and he went back to the scene of the crime. Where it happened that they had him there, and shit, he was like, "Hey, you shouldn't have touched my nephew. He ain't do nothing to you. He ain't do nothing to you." That was the giveaway right there. Hey, nephew did the shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what it was. But he basically he let it be known. without saying it that it was his nephew. So that's that.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
let's get
Well, I wonder. We have to take a poll to see how many people still believe that little half dead bullshit. I just want to see how many people really that brainwashed.
I don't.
And if
No
y'all still
one.
believe that half dead thing, that's some brainwashed shit. I can't
No.
wait till those fools from the Atlantic wake up.
Okay.
They are so brainwashed over there.
I don't believe that shit. Now B Dash just asked me to ask you this question: was Orlando Anderson and Corey Edwards at the Atlanta party that Jake died at, or were you even around
You-
then?
I was around. Matter of fact, I missed the plane. I probably would have had a bullet in my ass from that. But God be looking out for me. I missed the plane. I mean, I seen the doors closing, and they
Okay.
wouldn't let me on the plane.
Wow.
But anyway, I don't believe that. I think the cop that identified them, because they only get that from a witness from a off-duty cop, and I think he had saw their names or saw their faces, on the TVs or in the LA Times and stuff like that before. Because those niggas wasn't. I don't. But then who knows? They might have flew him out there. But I know they didn't have anything to do with the shooting out there. That was definitely Suge and Jake messing with some chicks. That was with Whoop and one of his boys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now DJ AG, he and this motherfucker, he said Orlando did it. Nobody believe that little half dead bullshit. Not at all.
I hope not.
B Dash, I'm gonna ask. He asked something again. He told me to ask you. Is it true that they blocked Suge from coming to pay his respect to Nate Dogg's funeral? Was that true?
I don't know. I wasn't with him. Then, so. But I can't honestly see shit going up there. But if he did come, I could see them having him with open arms, because everybody get Hollywood funeral times and stuff like that, and people be in a different mindset. So I don't know. I don't think shit would have went though, because him and Nate Dogg wasn't cool towards the end.
Okay.
But I wasn't around shit then, so I don't know.
Okay. Now let me. We gonna go back onto the thing here. Okay. Now the question. Okay. Is it true that Suge and Death Row wasn't paying their artists?
All right. That's the thing. It is true that we didn't have a royalty department, and where people would get checks the way they supposed to. But in my opinion, every person that did an album on there was overpaid.
Okay.
Got more money than was due to them or earned to them.
Okay.
Okay. I get the point that people just won't give me what's owed to me, not a penny more, a penny less. I get that. But Suge was the type of dude, and that's when I made the comment and said, we was a little ghetto. What I meant was, you ask for something, you get it.
Right.
But people like Danny Boy, Jewel, people like that they only things that they were supposed to entitled to get paid on was soundtracks.
Right.
Because none of them ever did any artists on Death Row. And pretty much when you do what they call side artist work, you usually just get your publishing money, and you do you either get to do it for a fee, or the artist who album it is will say, okay, like with Pop, like Danny Boy singing on some hooks and all of that for Pop. He would probably just in return do 2 or 3 songs on his album for it.
Right.
To help his album out. That's how it generally goes. But okay, forget that. The estate is the one that's responsible to pay out to people that's anything done with Tupac.
Right.
So, I mean, Snoop, we did a buyout with him when I sold him. We gave him $1 million. You get nothing you get nothing else from us. You got your publishing deal. No more publishing money, no more nothing, but you're free. We don't have no publishing deal on you anymore, and we don't have an artist deal on you anymore. But we got a 7% override from Priority Records, not Master P, but from the distributor, from Priority. Dre, same thing. Dog Pound, okay, they may have some beef, but Corrupt did he filed bankruptcy, So that contract and all that money got discharged.
Mm-hmm.
Das was still around. Das was getting paid nicely until he, got stupid towards the end, for whatever reason he did. But like I said, no, we didn't do royalty statements and all of that, and that was something, like I said, was ghetto. We didn't do that right, but everybody was getting taken care of. People say, oh, everything was in Death Row's name. Yeah, because none of those niggas had no business managers and stuff like that was taking care of stuff well, they had good credit. Those niggas couldn't go and qualify for $100,000 car back then,
Right.
or to get in a house that a $2 million house. They were leasing nice houses. We was paying all of that. That was in Death Row's name and all of that because that's who had the credit. That's who people knew, and they would say, okay, well, Death Row's a record company. Yeah, we'll give y'all this nice little spot on Wilshire or Penthouse.
Right.
But they wasn't gonna give no Penthouse to no Daz Dillinger or anything like that. When Tupac came home, I mean, you think he could have qualified to stay on a spot on Wilshire, a Penthouse on Wilshire there, just straight out of jail? Everybody always said he was unrecouped. Everybody give Interscope the pass and said, oh, it was okay that he didn't have any money in his in his bank account because he owed money for lawsuits and or law fees and all of that stuff. Okay, so if that's all true, he couldn't qualify for anything.
That's true. Hold on. Now, Supreme want me to ask you this. I got you, Supreme, baby. I got you. Is it true that he wants you to confirm this? Is it true that Tupac due to go back to court for sentencing on the Hughes brothers case on September 12th of 1996?
On the Hughes brothers case? No, we had dealt with that. That was when I talked about it. I don't know if Supreme was on that interview when I talked about when he was supposed to did some freeway time and stuff like that. That was the one in L.A. County. We had got that resolved, and he was supposed to do a bunch of community service on working on the freeway. And I was like,
you talked
and
about
I was like,
that.
wait a minute, we can't. Yeah, he can't do that. We can't have this dude doing it. So that's when we started doing concerts and stuff like that. Right. We was doing the stuff with the Brotherhood Crusades. That's when we did that big talk. That's when they were on there when he had Danny Boy do the thing that change gonna come and all of that. That was all about the 3 strike laws and all of that. With Danny Bakewell and the Brotherhood Crusades was signing off on him doing community stuff. We went to the hospital and gave some Nintendo playhouses to the children's hospitals and stuff like that. That's where we eventually got it worked out. So yeah, that got worked out. He was just doing a bunch of community service on that particular case.
Oh, okay.
Another thing done by David Kenner, and they want to say he was gonna fire David Kenner, or David Kenner was doing this. Man, he was not gonna get rid of David Kenner then. David Kenner was a man back then.
Oh, for sure. Okay. Now, tell us about the Master P deal and who set up that deal for Snoop to go do his thing and lead Death Row.
Okay. Initially, it was set up where Priority and Interscope was going to sign Snoop directly, and we wanted I think it was $13 million. Well, I know it was $13 or $14 million, right? But I really believe Dre stepped in and told Jimmy he don't want to be over there with Snoop because he didn't fuck with Snoop for a while. He would have came and saved him if that was the case, if he was so cool with him when before we sold him to No Limit. So that deal fell through. Where that deal fell through, Jimmy pulled out. But Brian Turner still wanted him, and so that's when Leor Coyne from Def Jam came up there, and Leor, that's when right before DMX was about to come, he was courting me like a mug. I went to a Def Jam party and all that. He was just like trying to hang out, be cool. Went up and saw Suge about 2 or 3 times. But what people don't know is Polygram owned most of Def Jam records. They owned like 50% or something like that. But Polygram, and they were like way upside down. So Suge told him $13 million was the going rate for Snoop right then.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, Suge always liked Brian Turner. Brian Turner is the one that started, gave NAA their break and all that little Jew white boy
Mm-hmm.
from from cool dude, nice
Mm-hmm.
looking white boy, just real cool.
Mm-hmm.
But Priority Records, but Priority was never big. They never, the biggest act they had was Ice Cube and all of that. They were just okay, but they were mainly just for distributing a
Mm-hmm.
distribution company and stuff like that for street beat dudes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So but so he came up there and he would start talking. And, he was like, "Hey, shit, sorry, I can't do the deal. I can only come up with maybe about $4 or $5, $6 million, but I can't come up with $13 million. That just we can't do it."
Mm-hmm.
So Suge was like, "You know what?" He's like, "You give me I think he ended up working on a 7% override, and then that's when he upped our distribution deal. I think he was giving us $350,000. We gave him the catalog, um, or something like that, and he said, "You get that money from that No Limit dude, that country motherfucker."
Mm-hmm.
He said it like that. I remember we were sitting there. He's like, you know that, because he couldn't think of Master P. He said, "That country motherfucker you got over there, the Reds keep talking about this, that's running things over there and stuff." And so he said, "You get that motherfucker to put up the money or bill it back to him or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
And Brian was like, "Man, that's a good idea." See, and so Brian went and presented it to P, and and then me and P started talking, and it was all good, and I think they ended up paying like $4.5 million for Snoop, gave us an override, and I really think Priority put it up, and they just probably recouped it from Master P,
Mm-hmm.
and that's normal. That's normal with your distributor and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how that deal went down. But eventually, even Snoop got over there with Master P, and they ended up falling out, and that's why he ended up just coming out under No Limit. I mean, under the Priority, and
Mm-hmm.
that's when he did that album with Exhibit in them, with Bitch Please and all that was on,
Yeah.
and so that's how the Cinderella, the Cinderfella, stuff like that. All of that wasn't done on No Limit. That
Right.
was done on straight Priority.
Well, yeah. Somebody just
So
said Snoop was why he was disloyal and asked you something about that, but you just brought that out. Now I'm gonna take it back a little bit. Now I did hear because 50 Cent brought this up a few times when he first came out. That Dre didn't want to work with Snoop. Dre did not want Snoop on the Get Rich or
he
Die
didn't.
Trying
Yeah,
album, and the West Side Stories. He
yeah,
didn't want he didn't want Snoop on there. He snatched Snoop's lyrics, voice off, and he just said,
yeah,
okay, you know what? He paid Snoop out of 50 said he paid Snoop out of his pocket to be on there, and they didn't even use his voice, and they put him on the
yeah,
PIMP remix, and that was supposed to be like for a mixtape CD or whatever, but it ended up blowing
yeah,
up. What was going on
yeah.
with Snoop
Dre,
and Dre?
he was, but you got to remember, Dre got caught off into that Snoop Dre, I mean that Suge Dre stuff because Dre 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 didn't come to court to support Snoop, and
Mhm.
Snoop was kind of vocal about
Mhm.
always walking around. Danny Boy was always around. He just was.
Mhm.
Him and Dash were the two biggest groupies you ever would want to meet, as far as wanting to be around. Snoop, I mean, Danny Boy, Dash, and Papa G. They loved the camera. He
Mhm.
will always find. They will always know how to find that damn camera. And that camera would be on them. But they so he didn't come and support uh Snoop not one time in court. But the reason why Dre was scared to come was because one of the witnesses kept saying Dr. Dre. He kept mixing up Snoop with Dre. He said Dr. Dre was the shooter. Dr. Dre was the shooter.
Mhm.
And when we know Snoop was the one in the car. Dre was never in the car.
Mhm.
And so David Kenner wanted to put Dre on the stand and say, "Hey, what's your name? Aren't you Dr. Dre?
Mhm.
You're not, But that was just a witness messing up on the name, and they wanted, David was like that, wanted to play some games,
Mhm.
play in the court, do some courtroom drama, or whatever.
Mhm.
But Dre wouldn't be a part of it. He would never come. And so that's how they kept putting it out, how he wasn't for us and he was against everybody, and because he wasn't coming court to support Snoop, and he didn't care about Snoop and all of that.
Right.
And so after hearing that for a couple of years, Dre probably was mad. But they didn't reunite again until which one came out first, The Wash or Chronic 2001?
I think that was the
Yeah.
Up in Smoke tour. That was when the Up in Smoke.
Yeah, and The Wash. I thought even The Wash, that movie, that you remember, The Car Wash?
Yeah,
supposed to be remix of The Car.
Yeah, The Wash. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's when they got back cool. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was around that time, but it took him a while. He had went through No Limit and then went through Priority before him and they rekindled their relationship.
Right, and then they must have fell out again because 50 came out a few years after that, and 50 was vocal, said Dre did not want.
I think during The Wash they did. I think they broke up or started having problems after The Wash. Mm-hmm. During the filming of The Wash, I think I heard something, but I don't know. I didn't follow no clowns then. Mm-hmm. They were, Dre was back on top. He was back doing this thing once the white boy came and saved Dre. Eminem put him back in the game. So, Dre was back all right once he had Eminem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, listen, when Suge was released from prison, what was that like, having him back home at Death Row? What was it like?
I was glad. I was happy for shit, man. I was losing up so much of my life, man. I was losing all my weekends, holidays, and all of that, going back and forth to that prison visit and babysitting him for, dealing with his women, decide who's gonna come today and who's gonna come the next day, and trying to keep them from bumping into each other at the airport. Mm-hmm. Probably got so many lie bumps. That's why God working on me now for all these lies I had to tell. Oh no, I'm just having his mama and dad coming up here today. Mm-hmm. Oh no, I just got about 4 artists coming up here. And there was always a female sitting next to him,
right.
and then whoever. And so I had to always control that atmosphere. So I was always up there. His visiting days was Thursday, mm-hmm. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay. And I was there. And then, so Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So I was tired of going visiting that nigga. I did that for 5.5 years. That shit got real, real old. But anyway, so I was glad that he was coming home. For that reason, and just get things back. I was the one in the limousine that was handing him all that jewelry and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I made sure he was looking good when he came home. He had the Doug Ware T-shirt on and and had his handcuff bracelet done and his Death Row chain and like, here, nigga, you back. Shit, private plane. And, me and Miss Chalet, had her sitting waiting at the airport for him.
Okay.
She wasn't even in the car. Well, I think they was at the hotel. Matter of fact, they went to the hotel for a minute and then, but anyway. So that's so.
Yeah, Suge he had to get his nuts out the sand from 5 years.
Yeah, I don't think he could wait till the plane. Exactly. Well, he had a couple of conjugal visits. He did have about 3 or 4 conjugal visits over that time. So,
okay.
So but still. But anyway, so that's what went down with that. But I was glad for him to come home, and like I said, he was doing good. You can look how clean the office and stuff was. Everything was ready when he came home. He the one came home and fucked up everything.
Oh yeah, I saw that office was clean and the motherfucker. That red furniture looked good.
I had everything. That red, I had him right. Yeah. He the one came home and fucked up everything. So no, I was, it was time. 5.5 years, it was time. It was time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you. Now I'm gonna ask you. Okay, this is okay. Tell us about that raid at 8200 Wilshire Boulevard. What was the enforcement?
Yeah.
What was the enforcement?
That was the second one.
That was the second one. Okay.
Yeah, that was the second. That was the time when that wasn't the time when they raided my house and the Chalet house and Death Row. Mm-hmm. That was the second raid. That's why Dave Weintraub. That's the dude to do the love for. Go and just he was tight. He was like best friends with Eric Spelling's kids. Mm-hmm. But he's the guy now that's like blowing up, doing all the Love of Ray J and the Game and the Flavor Flav show and all that. Mm-hmm. His name was Dave Weintraub. That do all of those shows. So anyway, Dave used to do he was like my runner. He was going to SC, so he was like an intern. So I used to have him go around pick up stuff because he the only one that had a car that was in good shape of those dudes. People work around the office. But when he talked about it, Suge ain't never met him, and it's like he better be glad Suge don't even know who he is, because Suge would have been pushing up on him. Suge have never met that dude in his life. but Dave is balling now. He the one. He the one took up the Ray J and all of that. He's the one that be taking Ray J around all the time.
Right.
But Dave, when Dave was talking about his computer got taken and all of that, that was the first time. That was behind the Biggie raid. That's when Russell Poole and them did the raids in like '98 or something like that. But in 2002 is when it was behind the shooting. It was a bunch of shootings that was going down. I think it was behind Buncher getting killed or Hen Dog getting killed. When they did some raids on Death Row and all. That's why they kept saying Suge was not wanted for anything. And they mainly were just doing raids because they knew stuff was going on with the guys that was hanging around behind all those shootings at in Compton and stuff like that. But that was later. So that's what that raid was behind, where they raided the office and stuff like that. But they mainly raided a bunch of guys. They had a snitch, this dude that told them that they were planning on killing somebody.
Whoa.
And they arrested it. They were arrested about 6 or 7 people, and that shit got DA reject, got kicked out the next day. They all got out.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, that's what that was about.
Okay. Now, why didn't Suge take the Michael Harry O. Harris lawsuit seriously? By not
Being
coming to
stupid.
court or being stupid?
Yeah. Yeah, just being stupid. Not. And I know where his head and his mindset was, because if y'all notice, Interscope had got dismissed from the case.
Right.
Because in '96 or '97, we dealt with that, where Michael Harris was taken care of. Now for him to refile and to re-up it, Interscope got dismissed because they showed, hey, we paid him, and the judge dismissed him. Right. Only thing Shizzle had to do was hire an attorney to say, we agree with everything Interscope's attorney said, and we we follow that, or we believe, we did what they did.
Right.
And it would have got dismissed as well. They didn't do that because Suge be trying to play attorney himself.
And he can't do that.
Anyway, he got stupid. Wasn't showing up, and that's when the judge, judges, man, especially a federal judge, when you piss them off, it's like, okay. That's what Toy doing. That's why his poor girl right now doing 3 years for pretty much saying, okay, I'm still doing what after he gave you a shot and told her, don't do it, stop, don't communicate with him, but don't be doing no 3-way calls.
Right.
And she pretty much did it again. And the judge was like, okay, I told you. I remember his exact words that I read. He said, I was born tonight, but I wasn't born last night. Meaning, no, I told you your ass not to do it. And you kept on doing it.
Wow. Okay. All right, so that was cool. Okay, now, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, he knows things only the killer would know. Why hasn't the Las Vegas PD questioned him about his involvement in the Tupac's murder? Yeah,
that's what people don't understand or know. Number one, he had an immunity agreement, and the U.S., even though it was done by a U.S. federal attorney, they still had to go and get permission from the Vegas County, from the Vegas, district attorney. So, they'd be all working together hand in hand. But this is what, just because I say me and Real, we wouldn't kill R.J. Bonds. And we the one shot R.J. Bonds. Not that alone is enough to convict us. Now, that's enough to do a search warrant and come messing with me and arrest me and all of that. But that's not enough to get a conviction to take us to court. You need something else other than a witness statement or a confession, because motherfuckers will be copping out for murders all the time. Oh, yeah, I killed so-and-so. I did that. And so you need something more to corroborate or collaborate versus a witness statement, like a gun being found. Other than just witness statements, can't convict the person. You need more than a witness statement or a self-confession. But 2, the immunity agreement, and then 3, it was another reason I had in my head, but it went away from me. But those mainly the reasons why you can't do it now. This is where it messed up now. If Keefe would have got up there and said today that he didn't do it, or because once you give a statement like that, they call that a comfort. A comfort. We call it queen for a day. Where they say you can be a queen for a day, cop out to everything you done did, and you leave something out. You know, then we can get you on that. But you cop out. You got the freedom to cop out to everything that you did.
Right.
And then we can't prosecute for it. You got immunity on that. But if you leave out something, or 2, get caught in a lie, what I mean by that, later on come back and say something different, then they can use it against you. And that's why I kept saying he can't say that he didn't do it, because they would have filed. They were waiting for him to do that, because they would have filed on his ass then, because now. But the other thing is, they would have some more. They would have needed some other evidence other than his statement to file the, because like I said, you get crazy motherfuckers all day coming in talking about, oh yeah, I don't want to kill so and so. You got to have more than just a witness statement or your statement. It got to be something else to cooperate. That statement.
Okay.
And that's what people don't know. That's what people don't know when they always say, well, she'll gonna be the one to tell on you. Okay, he can go say it all day. Reggie Kill, he can say it all day. Number 1, it'll be a lie, but number 2, that alone can't get you. They need other things to go with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is something that really irks me right here that, I know because I visit a lot of my people in jail, in prison, and I know that the someone's is always standing there watching you because you're not an attorney, or they got, the phones are monitored, all that good shit, right? Okay. Why is it that, when Suge was in prison during Biggie's murder, how in the hell could Suge pull that off from prison, and this the young lady claimed that Suge paid $13,000 for Poochie, to get her to get in touch with Poochie, and give Poochie $13,000 to knock off Big, and she was gonna get $12,000 out the deal. How in the fuck could that possibly have happened behind the walls of a prison? I don't believe it. But go ahead, you can shed some light on this shit for us.
Okay. Hypothetical. We talking in hypotheticals now. Say if this person came in as a paralegal with an attorney on an attorney visit. Okay. And then number 2, like I just explained to you, that alone, that's why Sugar ain't never been arrested either, too. Right. Because that alone can't get you convicted. Just by a person saying, oh, Sugar gave me the money. Sugar gave me the money to give the Poochie to go and kill so-and-so. I would need to go now, so they need something to corroborate that. So what would you try to do? You'll try to go get me to have a conversation with Suge, where Suge say, hey, did you give that money to Poochie? You did give that money to Poochie. Something like that is what'll be needed. Okay. But just because I go and say Suge gave me the money to do woo, that ain't enough. Wow. Now, if I said that and then they go and find the gun at Suge's house or something like that, then they got the gun and they got Reggie saying he gave him the money and they got motive, that's generally enough. Okay. But just me saying Suge is the one gave me the money, no, okay, well, we need you to go and have a conversation. We need you wired for sound. Right. Go in there and talk to that nigga and get him to say that on tape. Now, if he goes, if I went to Suge and said, hey, Suge, man, they owe me right now about, remember when you gave me that money to give the Poochie for killing Big? And Suge gonna look at me like, nigga, what the fuck you talking about? Who are you talking to? Who are you?
Goddamn right.
I don't know who you are.
Okay. No.
That's what you better say.
Right. Now how did Pook now Mob James did say Poochie was a foul ass nigga and he didn't like him. He was foul and how did he die?
Oh, the shit. He was on a motorcycle riding down Central.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to see that in Unsolved.
Okay.
And some car came up behind him and dumped on him.
Wow.
On the motorcycle.
Damn
Yep.
it.
He had a tragic death.
Yeah, that would have been
tragic death.
Wow.
Yeah, he had a tragic death. Because, just falling off a motorcycle was tragic enough. Shit.
Mm-hmm. Layla Johnson, I'm not even gonna entertain and ask that question. If you're with this Tupac alive shit, please exit the room immediately. Please exit the room immediately because that looked like that's where that question is going, and I am not finna entertain that shit. I am not in the mood tonight for that bullshit. Please.
Yeah, I hate for Tupac fans to say that Tupac's still alive because that makes Tupac that makes him such a wimp to not to be able to go ahead and turn yourself in to do 4 years.
Yeah.
How can you be his fan and say that? That this man going to fake a death, stage a death, so he won't have to go do 4 years of jail.
Man, I don't understand that either, man. But hey, it is.
People that his fan don't realize what they saying when they say that. You gotta really realize what y'all saying.
Well, you gotta look at it. The blind leading the fucking blind, and when you got ignorant motherfucker always, talking about, oh, Tupac is over here in South Africa or this place and that place, and then you got people that want Tupac to still be alive, and they get to believe in this old stupid shit. But enough of that. We're not even gonna entertain that fuck shit. No, okay.
Yeah.
Do you agree with Mob James when he say that all of this is Suge's fault? The whole situation with the Biggie getting killed and Pac being killed. Do you find that, what do you think of that when you hear him say this?
No, Pac was the cause of his death. Well, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Pac, that Orlando thing,
mm-hmm.
Pac shouldn't have did that. He knew what his worth was.
Mm-hmm.
He knew who he was.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't have went ahead and go do that. But that's when you're trying to be something you ain't.
Right.
Now people about to say Reggie don't like Pac, and that's why he talking bad about Pac and all that. But that's just what it is, man.
Mm-hmm.
He was okay. And even if that is what you are, and you go and do that, you shouldn't have because you knew what you was worth. And so you're not even supposed to do that. You got slappers. That's what niggas come up with. I got slappers for that. Right. I got somebody to slap you for that. You're supposed to go get one of the slappers. That's all I mean by that.
Most definitely.
He had slappers to go do that. But when you go and you have to be the slapper yourself, knowing what you were, knowing where you at and all of that, you wasn't thinking. Okay. That's all I'll say about that with Pac.
Okay. No, yeah, we don't yeah. So,
the big thing.
Right. The big thing.
Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. The big thing. I'm listening.
Well, the big thing was supposed to happen. Shit. I don't know. All right.
That was supposed to happen. Okay. Okay. We're gonna speed past that. Okay. Okay. Now, why does Mob James have so much hatred in his heart towards Suge Knight?
Because he took his spot. Mob was Suge without money.
Right.
He could get niggas to move, come on, or be around him, or be cool with him like that without the money.
Mm-hmm.
But then Suge had turned everybody against him.
Right.
He had the money now, so now everybody loves the Suge. Niggas be like, niggas, fuck you, nigga. We ain't trying to hear what you talking about. We going with homie. Right. Nigga, we about to go to New York. We about to go to the club. We about to go, Fuck what you talking about, homie.
Mm-hmm.
You got a couple of keys or something for us to go make some money? If you ain't got a couple of keys for a nigga to make some money, we about to go get this money right here. Yeah, well, we ain't got to do no penitentiary time. Only thing we might have, no penitentiary chance. Only thing we got to do is maybe slap somebody.
And and that's it. Wow. Now we got one more question, and we're gonna wrap it up. And I asked this
Okay.
question because this motherfucker, he was the one of the big boss men at Interscope. Who in the fuck is Scott Arison? Arison? That's
Yeah, Scott.
yeah. Who the fuck is he?
Yeah, he was a redneck, a hater, but he was the business affairs for Interscope. He was like the guy that would advise Jimmy of the legal rights and, look over the contract, get the paperwork done, cut the check and all of that. He was like business affairs.
Right.
But he was a hater.
Oh, okay.
He was a hater. He didn't like Suge. He didn't Suge. That's the one I told you that Suge pissed on.
Okay.
When he was in a stall at the bathroom and he turned to him and said, "What you say, Scott?"
He should pissed
that was
on
the
him.
funniest shit.
Oh, I
know he hated.
I know he wanted to call Suge a nigger so motherfucking bad.
I think Suge was trying to agitate him to do it because he hated him. I hated him. He was just. If you listen to how he talked, you could tell he didn't like us. He didn't.
Yeah.
Scott was just a different dude. Yeah, Scott. But that's who Scott was. Scott, they eventually got rid of Scott.
Yeah.
But they hid him from me too, though. So I don't know. He might have been still around. But I don't remember. I just remember dealing with David Korn, who was a good dude.
Okay.
Yeah, I think David ended up picking his child.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Reg, you got any?
Check out what name. Check out Korn. Y'all know what Korn name is.
No.
Jewish.
Jewish. Oh yeah.
They run that. They ran that business.
yes, they do. They run everything. Now, Reg.
Yep.
Do you got anything you wanna, say to the people before we bounce up out of here?
No, I just hate that. I didn't watch this last episode because I'm sure it's gonna be something there. Be like, oh, that's what they meant by that. Or, that's what they said. But
hey,
we'll talk about it.
We can do a follow up.
I hope we can continue to. Do this on after the Unsolved.
Oh yeah,
everybody start watching that. That's the.
Are we gonna
the
do that?
Murder was the case. I mean, the murder rap thing. That starts Tuesday.
Yeah, we on that. We're gonna do that.
Okay.
We're gonna do that. The same.
Yeah.
After it goes off, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna come right on live after every episode, and we're gonna talk about it right here on the 313 Live show. Please believe it, and it's gonna be dope.
Well, let's not say every episode because that motherfucker coming on about 14 times.
Whoa.
The first, before the second one come on again.
Okay.
So, USA gonna work it. So let's just say after the first time that is ran, it's the 7 p.m. the first one, first showing. Mm-hmm. Because they gonna show it. I was T-Bowing it today, and I see that.
Wow.
I said, God damn, they're gonna play the shit out of it.
So how many how many shows how many episodes they gonna show a night?
They got 10 series.
Right.
They got 10 episodes. But they're gonna be running it like they come on every Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And from Tuesday to next Tuesday.
Okay.
I think I counted like 14 different airings.
Well, we'll figure something out. We, like you said, we ain't gonna do all.
So let's just say
them.
8 o'clock. Let's just say 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock Pacific time, 11 o'clock your time on Tuesdays.
Yes, sir. Okay. Well, thank you, my brother Reggie, for giving us this dope interview and bringing Miss Sharitha on, and I appreciate that, and I can't wait to talk to her this week because she's cool than a motherfucker.
Oh, no, Sharitha's cool. That's Miss Knight. You remember? Miss Knight. She thought she was tougher than she. But she was cool, though.
For sure.
Cool.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, all right, brother Regs. I'll reach out to you and I'll holler at you tomorrow. And I'm finna wrap this up, my brother.
All right, y'all have a good one.
All right, now, brother. Peace.
Peace.
Right. Yo, family. I gave y'all an epic motherfucking show tonight. Reggie Wright Jr. and Sharitha. My bad. I'm calling her Sharitha. I don't want to chop her name up. That was some good shit, y'all. So, I'm out of here. I ain't want to make this. Damn, this is almost 2 fucking hours. I ain't want to make it 2 hours, but shit, it was just so motherfucking good. You know what I'm saying? So, peace and love, everybody. Yo, thank you, Bianca, sweetheart. Thank you. Bianca is also a part of the 313 Live Show Elite family. So, people, we out of here. Well, I'm out of here. I got shit I got to do in the morning. I got to be up by 6 in the morning. And it's like 1:53. God damn. Thank you, B Dash, my brother B Dash Lee. I appreciate you. Supreme, thank you, my man. Stay up, homie. Well worth it. Thank you, Jersey D. I appreciate you, fam. Hey, I appreciate all you guys that was up in here. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Danny, thank you, man. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate the love. Thank you, Machiavelli LLS. I appreciate you all. Good night. I'm out of here, and I will be on tomorrow. Peace. Thank you, DK Bailey, and thank you, Maddie612. I'm out.